All right, ready to dive deep into project management. We've got some awesome articles here all about the skills that make project managers truly shine, from managing timelines like a pro to, leading teams effectively.
Yeah, project management, it's a fascinating area. And these skills, they're not just for like official project managers. They're helpful for anyone, even if you're just trying to get your own life organized a little better.
So true. We've got Forbes Advisor here. They break down 10 essential project management skills. We'll also peek into the world of Scrum Masters with insights from Mentor Agile and Scrum.org, like what makes those Scrum Masters so effective. Plus, we've got some extra advice on how to really make those skills stand out, for your career. Think of this deep dive as your, like, cheat sheet to project management awesomeness.
I love that. A cheat sheet, making it practical,
Yeah.
breaking down those complex things.
Exactly. So Forbes Advisor, they start by dividing these essential project management skills into two main categories: hard skills, and then you've got the soft skills.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? We often think of project management as all about timelines and budgets and stuff, but those soft skills, like think leadership, communication, those are like secret weapons. They can really make or break a project.
Okay, so walk me through this a little bit. What are some examples of those hard skills that Forbes Advisor highlights?
Well, they emphasize risk management, which is, it's more than just avoiding disasters. It's about understanding how much risk a company's comfortable with and making decisions that fit that. Like, think about it, a startup might be all about taking big swings, right?
Yeah,
But a huge corporation, they might be way more cautious.
that makes sense. Yeah.
So how a company views risk, that really shapes how you as a project manager would approach, each decision.
Okay, that makes total sense. So how do I even figure out a company's risk tolerance? Do they just tell you outright? Or is sometimes, yeah, they'll just tell you. But often it's something you have to kind of observe, learn by being part of that company culture.
Like, do they celebrate bold moves even if they fail? Or do they focus on minimizing any possibility of things going wrong? That can tell you a lot about their risk appetite.
I'm already starting to see how this is way more nuanced than just like, following a checklist.
Exactly. And then, of course, you've got cost management, which is always a hot topic. Forbes Advisor brings up this concept of the triple constraint. It's basically cost, time, and scope, all intertwined. Like, imagine those plate spinners at the circus,
Okay, yeah, I can picture that.
trying to keep everything balanced.
But how does that actually play out in a real project?
Okay, so let's say you're working on a website redesign, right? And suddenly the client decides, oh, we need a whole new section. Well, that impacts the scope, right? More work to do. But if the deadline stays the same, you might need more people, which increases the cost. Or you could try to keep the cost and the team the same, but then the deadline might have to shift. You see how they all affect each other?
Wow, yeah, I'm already feeling like that triangle that could get really tricky really fast.
It's all about understanding those trade-offs, making strategic choices. A good project manager knows that you can't have it all. Sometimes you have to prioritize one side of the triangle over the others.
So hard skills, they're all about navigating those constraints, managing those resources, that kind of thing.
Absolutely. But don't underestimate the power of those soft skills. Forbes Advisor, Mentor Agile, they all highlight things like leadership, communication, patience as absolutely essential.
Okay, I can see how communication would be really important, especially when things get stressful on a project. But leadership, that feels like something, you either have or you don't. Some people are just natural leaders, right?
I mean, there's definitely some truth to that. Some people have a more natural, like, inclination toward leadership, but the great thing is leadership skills can be developed. It's not just about being the loudest voice in the room or having a fancy title. It's about like inspiring and guiding your team, even if you're not officially the boss,
Mm.
you know?
So what does that even look like in practice? Like, how can I be a better leader on a project, even if I'm not the one, calling all the shots?
Well, think about it this way. A good leader, they set a positive example. They're reliable, they're supportive, they communicate clearly, and they know how to motivate their team even when you're facing challenges, right?
Yeah,
It's about building trust and creating an environment where everybody feels valued and respected.
that makes sense. So it's about leading by example, even if you're not the official project manager.
Mm.
What about patience, though? Why is that so important? I mean, deadlines are deadlines, right?
True, deadlines are important, But projects, they rarely go perfectly according to plan. There are always like unexpected bumps in the road, miscommunications, technical hiccups, you name it. And that's where patience comes in. It's about staying calm under pressure, being able to adapt to changes and guiding your team through those challenges without, losing your cool.
Okay, I'm starting to see the value of having that Zen-like calm when everything's like going haywire. But how do you actually develop that kind of patience? Is it something you're born with, or can you actually like learn it?
Well, some people might be naturally more patient than others, but I truly believe it's a skill you can cultivate. Like mindfulness practices, meditation can be incredibly helpful in building that inner calm. And, on a more practical level, setting realistic expectations, breaking down large tasks into smaller, more manageable chunks, building in buffer time for those unexpected delays. All of that can contribute to, a more patient and less stressful project management experience.
So it's not just about grinning and bearing it. It's about setting yourself up for success by anticipating those potential roadblocks.
Exactly. It's about being proactive rather than reactive. And that makes a huge difference in how you handle the, inevitable stresses of managing a project.
Okay, wow. This is already giving me a whole new perspective on project management. It's like, I always thought it was just about, Gantt charts and spreadsheets, but it's really about understanding people, managing expectations, and building those strong relationships.
I'm glad you're seeing that. And that's actually a perfect segue into the world of Scrum Masters, which is where our other sources really come into play.
Okay, bring on the Scrum Masters. Tell me everything.
Well, both Mentor Agile and Scrum.org, they emphasize that Scrum Masters aren't your typical project managers. They're more like facilitators, guardians of the Agile process, making sure the team stays focused and delivers value in those short, focused bursts called sprints. It's a very dynamic and collaborative approach.
So they're not just telling people what to do, they're more like guiding the process and keeping everyone on track.
Exactly. And there are certain skills that make Scrum Masters particularly effective, some of which might surprise you.
Ooh, okay. I'm intrigued. Hit me with those surprising skills. What makes a Scrum Master really stand out?
Active listening is a big one. It's not just about hearing what's said, but truly understanding the emotions, the unspoken concerns behind the words. A great Scrum Master can pick up on those subtle cues and address them before they become bigger issues.
So they're like emotional detectives, reading between the lines and anticipating potential conflicts.
That's a great way to put it. They're attuned to the team's dynamics and can sense when something's off, even if nobody's, explicitly saying it.
That's incredible. I never thought about it that way. What else makes a Scrum Master really shine?
Another critical skill is the facilitation of learning. A Scrum Master needs to create a space where the team can openly discuss mistakes, learn from them, and constantly improve. Remember, in Agile, failure isn't a bad thing, it's an opportunity to learn and adapt.
So they're like coaches, helping the team level up their skills and get better with each sprint.
Exactly. And that learning-focused mindset, it's crucial in the fast-paced world of Agile development, where things are constantly changing and evolving.
Okay, so active listening, facilitating learning. What other secret weapons are in the Scrum Master's toolkit?
Well, they also need to be excellent systems thinkers. They need to see the big picture, understand how different parts of the project connect and impact each other. It's not just about managing tasks, it's about understanding that complex web of relationships within the project and even beyond.
Wow. So they're like master strategists, keeping all the plates spinning and making sure everything works together harmoniously. That's a lot of responsibility.
It is, but it's also incredibly rewarding. Being a Scrum Master is all about empowering teams to do their best work and deliver amazing results.
Okay, this is all fascinating. But now I'm wondering, how do you actually learn these skills? Where do you even begin?
Well, there are a lot of paths you can take, from DOT certifications and online courses to on-the-job experience and mentorship. There's really a path for everyone, whether you're just starting out or, looking to take your expertise to the next level.
Okay, so break it down for me. What are some of the most common ways to level up in this world of project management?
Well, certifications like the Project Management Professional, the PMP, or the Certified Scrum Master, the CSM, those are pretty popular. They give you a solid foundation of knowledge and, show potential employers that you're serious about this field.
So it's like getting your official project management driver's license. Shows everyone you know the rules of the road.
Exactly. And then there are tons of online courses, both free and paid, that can help you dive deeper into, specific skills or methodologies. You can learn about risk management, agile principles, Scrum frameworks. You name it, there's a course for it.
That's amazing. It's like having a whole project management university at your fingertips.
It really is. And let's not forget the power of good old-fashioned on-the-job experience. There's nothing quite like actually leading projects, making decisions, and learning from your mistakes.
Right, because theory is great, but sometimes you just got to roll up your sleeves and get your hands dirty.
Exactly. Even if you don't have an official project management title, you can still seek out opportunities to lead initiatives, at work or in your community, volunteer to organize an event, take charge of a team project, anything that gives you a chance to put those skills into practice.
And let's not forget about mentorship, right? Finding someone who's been there, done that, and can offer like guidance and support.
Absolutely. A good mentor can be invaluable in your project management journey. They can share their experiences, offer advice, and help you navigate those, tricky situations that inevitably come up.
It's like having a project management sensei guiding you on your path to mastery.
I love that analogy. And don't underestimate the power of networking. Connecting with other project managers, agile practitioners that can broaden your perspective, expose you to new ideas, and just provide a, supportive community of like-minded individuals.
So it's about building your tribe of project management rock stars.
Exactly. Attending industry events, joining online forums, connecting with people on LinkedIn, all great ways to expand your network and stay up to date on the latest, trends and best practices.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about the essential skills for both project managers and Scrum Masters, the different paths you can take to develop those skills, and, the importance of continuous learning and growth. But before we wrap up this deep dive, I want to hear more about some of those, like, less obvious skills that really make a Scrum Master shine.
Ah, yes. The Scrum.org article, they had some really fascinating insights on this. They highlighted the importance of emotional intelligence, which is all about understanding and managing your own emotions as well as the emotions of others.
Okay, so it's not just about knowing the Agile framework inside and out. It's also about, like, being human and understanding the human side of things.
Exactly. Remember, Scrum Masters are dealing with people, not just processes. They need to be able to read the room, sense the energy of the team, and navigate those, tricky interpersonal dynamics that inevitably arise in any group setting.
So they're like the emotional guardians of the team,
Uh,
making sure everyone feels heard and respected, even when things get tough.
that's a great way to put it. And it's a skill that becomes even more important in today's world where remote work and distributed teams are increasingly common. When you're not physically in the same space, it's even more crucial to be attuned to those emotional undercurrents and to find ways to build trust and connection virtually.
That makes so much sense. Okay, so emotional intelligence is key. What else did the Scrum.org article mention?
They also talked about the importance of strategic thinking for Scrum Masters, which is not something I would have immediately associated with the role.
Really? I would have thought strategic thinking is more of a like CEO or executive level skill.
It's definitely a skill that's valuable at all levels of an organization, but it's particularly important for Scrum Masters because they need to be able to see that bigger picture, understand how their team's work fits into the, larger organizational goals, and anticipate potential challenges and opportunities.
So they're not just like heads down in the Scrum process. They're also looking ahead and thinking strategically about the future of the product and the team.
Exactly. And that strategic mindset, it allows them to make better decisions, prioritize effectively, and guide their team towards, greater success.
Okay, I'm seeing how that's a valuable skill for anyone, but especially for someone who's guiding a team through a, complex project.
Yeah.
What else makes a Scrum Master truly exceptional?
Well, the Scrum.org article also emphasized the importance of adaptability, which is crucial in today's fast-paced, ever-evolving world. Agile is all about embracing change, so Scrum Masters need to be comfortable with, uncertainty, ambiguity. They need to be able to pivot quickly, adjust their plans, and help their team navigate those, unexpected twists and turns that inevitably come up.
So they're like those agile ninjas, always ready to adapt to any situation and keep the project moving forward.
Exactly. They're the masters of rolling with the punches and finding creative solutions to unexpected challenges.
Okay, this is all great stuff about Scrum Masters, but let's circle back to some of those like broader project management skills that Forbes Advisor highlighted. I'm
Yeah.
curious to hear your thoughts on risk management, which they seem to emphasize quite a bit.
It's such a critical skill, but often misunderstood. People sometimes think of risk management as simply trying to avoid all risks, which is, impossible and not even desirable.
Right. It's not about living in a bubble. It's about understanding the potential pitfalls and having a plan to deal with them.
Exactly. It's about being aware of potential risks, assessing their impact, and developing strategies to, mitigate them or even leverage them to your advantage. It's about making smart choices to maximize the good stuff and minimize the bad. And that requires a deep understanding of the project, the stakeholders, and the, overall business context.
So it's about being a calculated risk taker, knowing when to play it safe and when to, go for the big win.
Precisely. It's about finding that balance between caution and ambition and making informed decisions that align with the, overall goals of the project and the organization.
Okay, risk management check. What about cost management, which is always a top priority for any project?
Absolutely. Managing costs effectively is all about finding that sweet spot, within the project management triangle.
Mhm.
Balancing cost, time, and scope. You can't just focus on cutting costs without considering the impact on the timeline or the quality of the deliverables, right?
So it's back to that juggling act, making those strategic trade-offs to deliver the best possible outcome within the given constraints.
Exactly, and that requires careful planning, forecasting, and ongoing monitoring throughout the project lifecycle. It's not a set it and forget it kind of thing. You need to be constantly evaluating and adjusting your approach as the project evolves.
Okay, cost management, got it. Now let's talk about communication, which seems like it should be a no-brainer, but is often where things go wrong in projects. What are your thoughts on effective communication in a project management context?
Communication is the lifeblood of any project. You need to be able to communicate clearly and effectively with stakeholders at all levels, from the team members to the executives. It's about keeping everyone informed, aligned, and motivated.
So it's not just about sending emails and attending meetings. It's about building those relationships and making sure everyone's on the same page.
Exactly. And it's about actively listening to feedback, being transparent in your communication, and adapting your style to different audiences and situations.
Right, because what works for one person might not work for another. It's about being flexible and finding those, common threads that connect everyone to the project's goals.
Precisely. Effective communication is all about building bridges and fostering a shared understanding, which is crucial for project success.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground here, but there's one more skill that I want to touch on before we move on. Patience. Why is patience so crucial for project management success?
Patience is a virtue, especially in the world of projects. Things rarely go exactly according to plan, so you need to be able to roll with the punches, stay calm under pressure, and keep the team, focused and motivated even when things get tough.
So it's about having that like Zen-like calm amidst the chaos,
Yeah.
not letting those unexpected obstacles throw you off course.
Exactly. And it's about remembering that projects are a marathon, not a sprint. There will be ups and downs, challenges, and setbacks. But with patience and perseverance, you can guide your team to the finish line.
Well said. Okay, this has all been incredibly insightful, but now I'm wondering, how do I actually put all this into practice? What are some practical tips for developing these essential project management skills?
Well, one of the best ways to, level up your project management game is to seek out opportunities to lead projects, even if they're small.
That makes sense. Real-world experience is invaluable, and you don't need a fancy title to start gaining that experience.
Exactly. Volunteer for a project at work, organize a community event, or even just take the lead on planning a family vacation. These experiences will help you develop those core project management muscles.
Right. And as you gain experience, make sure to reflect on what worked well and what could be improved. It's all about, learning and growing from each project.
Absolutely. Asking yourself questions like, what challenges did I face? How did I overcome them? What would I do differently next time? Can be incredibly valuable for your growth as a project manager.
And don't underestimate the power of mentorship and networking. Finding someone who can offer guidance and support and connecting with other project managers can make a world of difference.
Couldn't agree more. A mentor can be an invaluable resource, especially if they have experience in the specific type of project management you're interested in. And building a strong network of peers and mentors can provide support, guidance, and, fresh perspectives.
Okay, so real-world experience, mentorship, networking, these are all great ways to hone those project management skills.
Yeah.
What about like more formal learning opportunities.
Well, as we mentioned earlier, certifications and online courses can provide a solid foundation of knowledge and demonstrate your, commitment to the field.
Right. And there are tons of resources available, from certifications like the PMP or CSM to online courses covering everything from risk management to agile methodologies.
Exactly. Choose a learning path that aligns with your interests, goals, and learning style.
And don't be afraid to experiment with different project management methodologies and tools. The world of project management is constantly evolving, so it's important to stay curious and explore different approaches.
That's right. You might find that a certain methodology or tool is a better fit for your, specific needs and working style.
And finally, one of the best ways to develop your project management skills is to simply practice, practice, practice.
The more you apply those skills in real-world situations, the more confident and competent you'll become. And remember, it's a journey, not a destination. There's always room to learn and grow as a project manager.
So embrace the challenge, stay curious, and keep those projects moving forward.
And most importantly, have fun along the way. Project management can be incredibly rewarding when you approach it with a positive attitude and a, growth mindset.
Well said. Okay, before we move on to our final insights, let's take a quick recap of some of the key points we've covered in this deep dive. We've explored the essential skills for both project managers and Scrum Masters, from those foundational hard and soft skills to those more nuanced abilities like emotional intelligence, strategic thinking, and adaptability.
We've discussed various ways to develop these skills, from seeking out real-world experience and mentorship to investing in ongoing, education and training.
And we've emphasized the importance of continuous improvement, reflection, and a growth mindset.
So are you feeling inspired to level up your project management game?
I definitely am. This has been so insightful. But before we wrap up, I'm curious to hear your final thoughts on what we've discussed today. What's the one big takeaway you want listeners to walk away with?
As we've been talking about all these different skills and approaches, one thing that's really stood out to me is that project management at its core is about people.
It really is all about the people, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you think about it, it's the people who make those projects a reality.
Exactly. We can talk all day about Gantt charts and agile sprints and all that jazz, but none of it matters if you don't have a team, a team of people who are motivated, engaged, working together effectively. That's where those human skills, those soft skills we were talking about, they become absolutely crucial.
Right. It's not just about, managing tasks and checking off those deadlines. It's about leading inspiring people.
Hmm.
It's about building those relationships, creating a culture where everyone feels valued, empowered to contribute their best work.
And you can't learn that stuff from a textbook. It comes from experience, from observation, from genuinely caring about the people you're working with.
So being a good leader, good communicator, good listener, being empathetic,
Mm.
understanding what makes people tick.
It's about fostering trust, creating that sense of shared purpose, recognizing that everyone brings something unique to the table.
And everyone has their own strengths and weaknesses,
Yeah.
and that diversity of thought, those different perspectives, it's a strength, not a weakness.
Exactly. You want to create an environment where everyone feels safe to share their ideas, to take risks, to learn from their mistakes without feeling judged.
And this all makes me think about how those human skills, they're becoming even more important these days, with so many people working remotely, those distributed teams.
Absolutely. When you're not physically in the same space, you have to be so much more intentional about building those relationships, creating that sense of team cohesion. It's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, you can't just rely on those casual water cooler chats or those impromptu desk-side conversations. You've got to be way more proactive, more deliberate in your efforts to connect with your team.
Exactly. It's about finding ways to replicate those informal interactions virtually. Maybe it's scheduling a weekly virtual coffee break where everyone can just chat and catch up, or setting up a dedicated Slack channel for, non-work related conversations, just to keep those connections alive.
Or even just taking a few minutes at the beginning of each team meeting to check in with everyone, see how they're doing, what's going on in their lives outside of work.
Yeah, those small gestures can make a huge difference in building rapport and creating a sense of community within a remote team.
And I think it's important to remember, too, people have different communication styles, different preferences, and those differences can be even more pronounced in a remote setting.
Absolutely. Some people, they thrive on video calls, while others prefer to communicate asynchronously, via email or chat. Some are super direct to the point, while others prefer a more, nuanced approach.
So, as a leader, especially leading a remote team, It's about being flexible, adaptable in your communication style, recognizing those individual preferences, and finding ways to connect with each team member effectively.
And having that patience, that understanding that, building strong relationships takes time, takes effort, especially when you're not interacting face to face on a daily basis.
It's a good reminder that leading remotely, it's a different skill set, a different mindset.
Definitely. But the rewards can be huge. When you can successfully lead a team remotely, it really showcases your communication skills, your ability to build trust, all those strong leadership qualities.
Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with a challenge.
Ooh, I love a good challenge. Lay it on me.
I challenge you to take some time this week. Reflect on your own human skills. Think about your strengths and weaknesses when it comes to communication, leadership, empathy, emotional intelligence, all those things we've been talking about.
That's a great challenge. And once you've kind of, identified those areas where maybe you want to improve, ask yourself, what's one small step I can take this week to get better?
Exactly. It could be something super simple, like making a conscious effort to really listen when someone's talking to you, or practicing expressing appreciation to a team member for a job well done.
Or maybe committing to having regular one-on-one conversations with each of your team members just to check in and see how things are going. Even if it's just for a few minutes, it can make a world of difference.
The important thing is to choose one small action and commit to it. You might be surprised by the ripple effect it creates.
You never know. That one small step could lead to some pretty big changes in your work and in your life.
Absolutely. And remember, all these skills we've been talking about, they're not just for project managers or Scrum Masters. These are valuable life skills, skills that can help you be more effective in any role, really, whether you're leading a team, collaborating with colleagues, or just navigating the everyday ups and downs of life.
So go out there and rock those projects, big or small. And remember, never stop learning, never stop growing.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of project management. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep those projects moving forward.